Hey everyone, welcome. Let's do a little bit of chatty. Get ready with me. I've got some reflections to share with you, some things that have been on my mind lately that I want to talk with you all about. I'm going to start with the the liquid silk canvas primer, which I haven't used in quite a bit. Thought I would show this some love today. I'll start off with gratitude for today. And it's a little bit of like in memoriam to honor a couple of college professors and someone from high school, like a mentor from high school that I recently learned passed away. Oh, all three of them. You know how you hear about things in threes. The first two had not passed away recently, but I learned about them recently. The third did pass away very recently. And it was just like the realization that, oh my gosh, like I'm 50 and people in my past that were mentors to me, key figures in my life, they're transitioning to the great beyond at this point, and it's a reality that I'll have to face more and more. And in particular, these three hit me hard because of the phenomenon that I always talk about. That is, you remember, I do anyway. Let me say me, I always remember people at the age that I met them. Like they are forever frozen at that age, even if I age along with them. So for example, my high school friends that I'm still in touch with, we're still good girlfriends. We've watched each other's kids grow up. We've been through marriages and divorces and babies and parents dying and all that sort of stuff together. To me, they are always high school age. No matter what I'm talking with them about or what life has brought our way, they are always frozen in my mind at 15 years old. Doesn't matter how many wrinkles I see on their face, what stresses life have brought their way. They're always and forever 15 to me, or 14, or whatever age I met them at. Today for concealer, I still have this Rare Beauty, like under eye something or other. I forget what it's called. It's like a brightener. It's not intended really to be concealer, although you can use it as that. I kind of use it to kind of spackle in the lines. And then I'm going to use one of my favorite concealers lately, and this is the Hourglass one. And this is in the color Sienna. I think it's 6.5 is the number. So recently we were at the dinner table, family and I, and somehow we got to talking about college. And I had mentioned, I know what it was. We were talking about being on time, like waking up to alarm clocks. Y'all, in college, I had a little bit of a challenge getting places on time. I've since gone in the opposite direction and I get places early. But, college years, you can either be super focused and on top of things, or you can be a little bit of a knucklehead or somewhere in between. I was kind of somewhere in between, leaning knucklehead direction and sowing some wild oats. And anyway, going in directions I probably had no business going during those 4 years. That said, I had a particular professor that was like the mentor of this special grant program that I had gotten into. And I remember being late to an appointment that I had with her. She was my mentor. Let's say I was supposed to meet her at 9 a.m. And let's say I got there at 9:10 and she let me have it. And I'll never forget that I was complaining that, my alarm clock didn't go off, whatever excuses I came up with. Who knows what kind of nonsense I told that woman about why I was late. My alarm clock didn't go off. I had to make it way across campus or whatever. And I never forgot her saying to me, I don't care if you have to set 3 alarm clocks. Your tardiness is your problem, not mine. And you're wasting my time when you arrive late. I mean, of course, in my heart of hearts, I always knew that and was just hoping she would be forgiving. But it was one of those lessons, those moments in time when somebody that I really admire was very honest with me, really blunt about me being the one that messed up. And I kind of had nothing to say about it other than, you're right, And from that point forward, I was never late. She was really ticked off with me. That said, she was always like super supportive of me and whatever direction I thought I wanted to take my academic career in college in, if you want to call it a career, or my academic interest in rather. She was always supportive of me becoming a scholar in college and figuring out ways to do that. She was a little bit spicy in terms of her personality. She didn't take a lot of mess off of the kids. She drove a hard bargain, so to speak, and forced us to toe the line in college and really be accountable for ourselves. And I'm like forever grateful for her being really upfront and candid and not pulling any punches in teaching us lessons or reminding us of lessons that, we came to college knowing and act like we forget, like show up on time and don't waste people's time when they're waiting for you. Showing up late is a rude thing. So I looked her up the other day after talking about her at dinner, because I was like, I had this professor that was really honest about time clocks and all this. And, she ingrained in me to be on time. And it had not occurred to me that she had possibly even passed away. And so when I saw her like memoriam come up, her obituary, I was like, oh my gosh. Well, of course, she would be in her 80s or something by this point, maybe a little bit older, probably in her 90s, early 90s, if she were still alive. So she passed away a number of years ago. And it was just one of those moments like she's no longer in the world, like mentoring students, changing lives. What a loss to this world. So, of course, that made me look up a second professor who was super sweet to me, took me under her wing at a time that I was just in straight up knucklehead status. And she was very kind and forgiving about all of the dumb things that I said and did while I was on that college campus, and was always just kind of nudging me to be my better self. And she passed away. And I was like, oh, like just crushed about the thought of these two like motherly, maybe auntie-like intellectual giants no longer being on that campus, much less on this earth. It really hit me hard. So I want to express gratitude and appreciation for the role that those two women played in my life, the way that they didn't let me get away with nonsense, and the way that they knew that I could always do and be more than what I was presenting at that time, that they saw beyond my stupidity and nonsense in college and saw my potential and pushed me in that direction. And it's because of people like that that I believe in young people now and treat them the same way. So quickly, I'm really enjoying these Anastasia foundations. I ended up getting them in different colors. I got 3N, 3 neutral, and 4N, 4 neutral. It's called the Impeccable Blurring Second Skin Matte Foundation. I think I'm going to maybe mix these a little bit, but I like the 4 better. Depends on the usual friends, everything I'm always talking about, whether my skin is in a tan mode or not. So let me swatch both of these for you. So the 3N will be over here and the 4N here, and then I'll proceed to mix them. But then the other person that I heard about that had passed away, someone told me, my sister told me actually, because she went to the same school as me. You remember, I went to boarding school. So that's the 3N. Was a woman that had sort of become like our mom away from home while we were at boarding school, and just one of the kindest souls on the planet. Someone who believed in all kids, took all kids under her wings. She would invite us over to her house, and that's the 4N. I think I'm just going to go with the 4N because this is feeling a little bit more gragey now, and I want to go with something warmer. Anyway, she passed away recently, and that one hit me especially hard because she was even more of like a pivotal, critical shaping of who I am, because she always presented kind, no matter what we were going through on that campus. And, teenagers go through some stuff. If you have teenagers or you remember what it's like to be a teenager, you go through a lot, a lot. You're figuring out who you are, how you want to show up in the world, what your moral compass is, how you're different or alike than other people. I mean, it's so critical to have good mentorship in the middle and high school years in particular. And then for my knucklehead self in college, of course, to help you stay the course, to help you stay out of trouble and not get into stupid stuff, to help you, as I always say, become who you are, perhaps who you were always intended to be. And this woman was one of the most caring, kind, almost saint-like people who never lost her cool, always stayed chill and calm with us, even when we were being completely rotten buttheads. And we loved her. We all just adored her. She lit up every room that she walked into with her motherly energy. She will be missed on this planet. We got to meet her mother. We got to meet her grandmother at that time, was still alive. So this woman died in her 80s. It didn't say what of. I don't know if it's old age or, something else, or I guess that doesn't really matter. Of course, if you're like me, you're nosy and you just want to know. So it's both sad, and I want to express gratitude for having had, in addition to my own family, my mom, dad, my aunts and uncles and all of that, and the influence they've had in my life. I have been very fortunate to have what I consider to be like guardian angels in mentor form that have always looked out for me and my friends and made sure that we were not forgotten. and that we always had opportunities in education and in life, and that we were always reminded that there were great things in front of us if we only believed in ourselves and took the time to, like hunker down, study, work your butt off, take advantage of everything life has to offer. Be your best self. So tremendous gratitude. I'm going to get emotional in a little moment of silence for the amazing role that they played in my and other children's lives. So then I have one other point of gratitude. Our daughter graduated from high school. What a lovely ceremony. We got to hear 2 young people speak from their senior class. And I'm going to tell you what, these kids are going places. The most wonderful speeches, very charismatic, lively human beings. Some of the best speeches that I've heard kids give. We were highly entertained. It was an 1.5-hour ceremony, and it went off like without any issues whatsoever. It flowed so nicely, and we had so much fun. Of course, as soon as I saw the senior processional come in, there were about 400 kids in the senior class. As soon as they started walking in the back of the venue, I'm over there tearing up. Like, what the hell is wrong with me? Why can't I keep my composure? I'm like, oh God, this is so emotional. I'm a little verklempt. This is wonderful. No one else around me was emotional. No one, just me, like a dum-dum. But it was so cute. And the best moment for me was she's, of course, looking for all of us in the crowd. And as soon as she spotted us, she was like this little, doe looking above the crowd, looking, and she saw us. And then she had this huge smile on her face. And it was just a really, truly tender, sweet moment, to see her be excited to see us. And it felt so special. So I was so happy for her. She's on to the next chapter of her sweet little life. And I wish her, I don't know, God, I wish her Godspeed, all the best, all that life has to offer. Of course, we'll be here to help guide her and make sure that we do whatever we can to clear pathways for her, move heaven and earth so that she can have a great shot at the best life possible. Then the last thing that I want to say that I'm grateful for, and I'm going to link these 2 videos below. You all, comedy skits, basically. And in particular, Saturday Night Live. I'm going to use this Persona bronzer multi-stick in the color Sahara, which is pretty darker brown, like a darker reddish brown. But so one of my favorite things to watch is Fergie trying to sing the national anthem. Do you know what I'm talking about? Because if you don't, you are missing out in life. And I need you to go see this video, but you have to enjoy silliness. So this is her singing the national anthem at a basketball game. And she really thought she was doing it. She thought she was amazing. And I'm not one to laugh at people's attempts, but this is clearly one of the most comedic versions of the national anthem, in all of history. And my favorite part is watching the basketball players not lose it or try not to lose it as they're standing there listening. And it's going from bad to worse to disastrous. And Fergie, is not aware that that's how she's being received. She thinks she is killing it. And I don't know what her reaction was after. I feel like I saw some interviews of her digesting what had happened and not realizing that, she really wasn't doing the bang up job that she thought she was doing. But it has to be one of my favorite things to watch when I'm in a bad mood, because it just never fails to make me laugh. You all, I'm like a toddler at heart, short of laughing at potty jokes, because I don't find that funny. Anything 2 steps above a potty joke, don't be in a meeting with me, like a work meeting, and look at me when something funny happens, because I lose it. I lose it. Here I am, half a century old, and I can't keep my composure. And I think the stupidest stuff is hilarious. I cannot stop laughing at dumb stuff. So the Fergie national anthem, which is not intended to be funny, but is perhaps one of the most hilarious things I have ever seen on primetime television. And then one version that is intended to be funny is Maya Rudolph doing the national anthem. If you're not a Saturday Night Live fan, I'm so sorry for you. I love Saturday Night Live. Is every single skit hilarious? No. But there are some gems, and this is one. Maya Rudolph is a national freaking treasure. Protect her at all costs, where she starts singing the national anthem. Oh, say, can you see? And there are parts in it where she just jokes, and things like that. You got to see it. So I will link it below. You go have yourself a good laugh. And if you don't find that funny, I don't know if we can be friends. I don't know if we can be friends because it's so hilarious to me. So then my little silly self, I get on these binges where I will play that video over and over and over again 20 times to the point where people in my house want to disown me and kick me out because they're like, all right, we get it. That's funny. And I'm like, but watch this part right here. So I'm grateful for hilarious skits, comedy, in that we live in a country where we can make fun of things. We can enjoy our silliness together, where something like Saturday Night Live exists. I sure do wish In Living Color would come back on, y'all. I sure do wish the Wayans brothers, or heck, their children, some, bring back In Living Color. Bring back In Living Color. Give me Fire Marshal Bill. Give me The Prisoner. You know what I'm talking about? I forget his name. Oswald, is that his name? You know, he's sitting there with the pickles in the jar. You know what the pickles in the jar are. And he like bastardizes the English language by talking about using words rather in his commentary that mean anything but what he thinks they mean. That is comedy gold, that stuff. Love it. So I guess I'm grateful for traditional American comedy like that. But those two national anthems this past week brought me so much joy to just enjoy again. Fergie unintentionally and Maya Rudolph very intentionally. And you know, Maya Rudolph's mom is, I forget her name. Oh my gosh. But a famous singer. So she gets it honest, the pipes, although she makes fun of singing and the national anthem and doesn't do it very seriously, right? Cool, I think I'm happy with this as a base. I'm gonna do a little bit of powdering. I think I'm gonna go with this Laura Mercier translucent powder. This is the loose setting ultra blur and it's in translucent because it's pretty long lasting. It doesn't fail me. Y'all, we finally got some dang sunlight, true May sunlight. And warm weather here in Virginia today. I don't know if you can see from the skylight behind me, it's actually sunny outside and it's quite beautiful the day. I mean, I'm stuck inside filming, but I do plan to take a little bit of a walk, maybe like right after I finish filming and before we cook dinner with my husband, go around the neighborhood and enjoy ourselves. So then quickly, you all, these Dior quintets, at one point I had like 5 of these and then I sold most of them off because I was like, I need something with more color payoff, a little bit more jazzy. And now that I'm in my small eyeshadow era and doing more subtle looks overall, you know, I don't have like circus looks going on anymore, y'all. My clown era has passed me. I've repurchased and some of my faves because they are soft, because they're the opposite of what I thought I wanted maybe 3 or 4 years ago. So they're some of my favorites of the month. I love this one, which is called Soft Cashmere. Beautiful colors. I have a little plastic covering on this. This one is called Poncho, and it's got a little bit more like darker, sultrier look for, you know, when you want a little bit more zhuzh on your eyelid. And then I recently repurchased Nude Dress. I have a lot of nerve. I have a lot of nerve coming back to these. And I think this is the one that I want to use today. So let's see what happens here with this one. But I'm really just enjoying more subtle looks these days. Even on the weekends, when I used to do these really like high impact looks with a lot of glitter and a lot of depth. I still like some depth from time to time and I still want to do some of those kinds of looks, but I lean more to the more subtle looks these days. So let's transition then. By the way, I think I might use all the colors. So I'm just gonna play. Let's transition then to a topic that's near and dear to my heart, particularly at this age. And friends, that is knowing your worth and not letting anybody play you. Now, the example that I have is not because I was played or because I think that the company was trying to play me. It's because I knew that if I accepted what they wanted me to do, that I would feel like I was playing myself. And I don't have time for that these days. I want to do things that I feel like are worth my time and energy, and I want to be compensated properly. And let me say this, because I think there's this whole shame game that happens on social media, and it happens in the female content creator community a whole lot more and more often in general than it happens in the male community. And that is shaming female content creators for taking brand deals, for using affiliate links, for wanting to make money off of the time that they put into these channels. I mean, so for some people, it is their career. This is not my career. I have a full-time career that allows me to repurchase Dior Quints, for example. Oh my gosh. But I do put a significant amount of time into my YouTube channels. And I don't think there's anything wrong with accepting deals or the fruits of the labor that come when you start to grow your audience, because brands start to reach out to you. They're interested in working with you. There are affiliate deals to consider and all of that. Let's normalize people being paid for their time. How about that? Let's normalize people being paid for their hard work and the time that they put into it. Let's normalize not expecting people to be martyrs. Let's normalize not expecting women to just always give of themselves with nothing in return. And this is not about the audience buying from the content creator. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about people being salty because content creators are accepting deals with brands. I mean, what kind of weird universe do we live in where you don't want people to be paid? I understand that there's a whole like community of folks that believe that if you are compensated for your time, then you must be lying. I don't have time to deal with that kind of mentality because I am an honest person. I share my honest thoughts. And so all I have to say to the people that believe that is, if you feel that way, you shouldn't be watching those content creators. Like, just stop watching them if you think people are lying to you. But my experience, because I'm on this side of things, is the vast majority of content creators really are doing their best to toe the ethical lines, make sure that they are sticking to their moral compass, only accepting deals and so forth that make sense to them, and being honest. I mean, y'all, these are just products. These are just products, and you as audience members can decide if you want to purchase them or not, if this is of interest to you, if you want to use the link, I don't even have time to digest all of that. But I will say, I want to tell you about a deal that I turned down and why. I think it's time for us to normalize women in particular being paid for their time and energy, and that there is nothing wrong with that, and that you have every right, whether it's in content creation or in your daily life, to want a proper salary, to want a properly hourly rate if you work hourly, to want proper working conditions, and that you have every right to walk away from situations that don't feel good to you, that don't respect you and honor who you are. I mean, y'all, life is short. This nonsense that content creators or women in general in any facet of their life should just always give, and not get anything in return is absolute nonsense. It's its own form of sexism in some ways. And that's a whole nother conversation for a different day, because there's a lot to digest and break down there. So where I'm going with this is, you might remember that in a video, maybe a couple of weeks ago, I talked about a bra, a brassiere type that I really liked from Comfili. And I love them. I'm wearing one today. I'll show you a little bit of it right here. It looks like that. And the cups are in like small, medium, large, extra large, extra large. I think there's maybe an extra small. I don't remember. But they don't come in band sizes, or maybe they do. Maybe the band comes in sizes, but then you order the cup in a small, medium, or large. I feel like I just ordered mediums. They're linked in my description box in the Amazon store that I have, the storefront that I have. And I showed you that I was wearing one of these bras, which I love. These, they're so good. They're so comfortable. Most comfortable bras I've ever worn. I have forsaken all my other bras. I still have some in rotation. I have my Victoria's Secret bras. I have my Soma bras, and then I have some Warner's bras that I still have. But these are the ones that, if I'm truthful, I reach for first and foremost almost every day. They're so comfortable. Anyway, I mentioned it in that video that I was wearing them and that I was enjoying them. And I joked around in that video that I wish the brand would reach out to me for a collaboration. And I mentioned that serendipitously, as I was saying it in the video, a drop down came on my screen that was an email from Comfili reaching out to me for a partnership. And I was like, what kind of synchronicity, or is it whatever that is? What kind of matchup of energies is that? And so afterward, I did contact them back. I responded to the email. I'm going to put this more sort of shimmery one on the inside, and then maybe try to put this white one on the very inner corner. Actually, let me start with the white one. Okay, so it looks like that. So I did reach out to them. We went back and forth by email. I don't usually tell brand business and whatever, because that's between the content creator and the brand. There is business. It's a business arrangement, and everybody out there doesn't need to know your business arrangement. That's between your conscience and the brand. So anyway, I did want to share with you because there's a lesson here. We talked, we went back and forth, you can do a paid collaboration where you are given a certain amount of money to present the product in a video. I'll just throw out like a scenario. They might say, would you be willing to do a 60-second integration for this dollar figure? Or would you be willing to do a dedicated video where that's all that you talk about? The video is focused on that product for this amount. So I have some rates that I've worked out for myself based on my channel sizes for this channel and then for the other channel that I think are fair, but that also value the time that it takes for me to review the product, feel comfortable with it, understand it enough to present it to my audience, because every content creator has to make decisions about what they want to present and how, if at all, if they even want to go down that road. Yes, I do want to go down that road. It's important to me to be able to bring you great products, and sometimes that involves collaboration. Instead of me just paying out of pocket all the time, it's nice to get product to review, and it's especially nice to be paid for the time that you put into it. I don't ask for payment for all my products. It just depends on the specific collaboration and why I want to be paid or not.
And although I'm talking about paid collaborations, the truth is I have only accepted one paid collaboration in the entire time that I've been doing videos, because there was only one that I thought was worth my time and where the payment was appropriate.
So for Comfili, they offered to send me a certain number of products. So the bras themselves are in like the $30 to $40 range. And without getting into insider baseball, the long and short was, I said, well, yes, I'm happy to talk about this. I really love your products. Let's chat. And we got to the point where it was time for me to say, and what is the compensation for this? And I think because I wanted to present it on this channel and not the other channel that's bigger, the answer was, let's just do this as a gifted campaign, which means you don't get paid for your time. The product is considered the exchange. You get the product for free to talk about, but you don't get paid like an amount on top of that. Let's consider this a gifted campaign. And if things work out, we can talk about a sponsored payment, in the future. One of the things they asked me to do, this wasn't something they demanded, because you can't demand things from creators. You can ask things, is would you feel comfortable sharing, visual of yourself wearing the item? Now, y'all, ladies who are in the audience and gentlemen who have women in their lives, hear me when I say, and I'm gonna just tell you like I would tell my friends, you're gonna be showing your boobs on screen, which I wouldn't be showing you my boobs. They would be behind the bra. But you're basically showing yourself, depends on how modest you are. Get paid for that. Get paid for that. Okay. So the long and short of it was, they wanted me, I didn't have to, they wanted me to show myself, display the product, the bra, and show what it looked like, the fit looked like. I didn't have a problem with that. I'm not ashamed of my body. The bra itself fits like a sports bra. So it's not unusual that you would see something very similar, like in a gym setting. So no, I don't have a problem with that. There's nothing lingerie-ish about the bra. I will show you a full one in a second. Actually, let me go get one now. Okay, so before we continue, this is basically what I'm wearing. It's almost the identical color. It looks like this, so it's super comfortable with these scalloped edges. It's very, very stretchy, and it looks like a sports bra when you're wearing it. Here's what the inside cups look like. They're a little ventilated, and they stretch to the size of your boob. In fact, so these are they don't have a band size. They just come in those general sizes, extra small, small, medium, so on and so forth. So I wear medium, okay? You can take the padding out. I like the padding because I don't want headlights to be showing. So anyway, there's nothing shameful, I don't think, about showing this on screen. It looks very much like a sports bra. It's not Victoria's Secret in nature. And hey, if you want to show your Victoria's Secret bra and you're an adult, I don't care. But the point I'm making is I had to have my own standards and my own boundaries and borders. And if I'm going to go the extent to take my shirt off on screen to show you what this bra looks and fits like in hopes that you will enjoy it enough to go explore it, brand, you're going to pay me for my time. And so I very politely said, thank you, but no thank you. If at any point in the future you would like to explore a paid sponsorship, let's chat again. Why do I bring that up to you? It's not about content creation, and it's not about that specific brand, the partnership, whatever. It's about you and your time and what you're willing to do in exchange for your time, your likeness, your reputation, because when you're talking about a product, you are putting your reputation out there. And I'm telling you, hey, these bras are super comfortable. I like to wear them. In fact, I wear them more than anything else, right? If you get that bra and you don't like it, you're going to think something of me. You may think I'm lying. You may think I was paid off. You might think 1,000 things, right? So I have to be willing to take the risk. I know I'm being honest, but you get what I'm saying? Like, if I'm going to put my reputation behind a product, I have to take the risk that it's going to work for you. Or you're probably going to like it, that I'm convinced that it's good enough that you're going to enjoy it or like it or whatever. Do you get what I'm saying? And so the point I'm making is really like a life lesson about when you're asked to do something that has to do with you giving your time, your energy, your reputation, your likeness to something. Make it worth your damn time. Make it worth your time. Do I have anything against a brand because they didn't want to pay me? No, not at all. Not at all. That's their decision. They have their marketing budget. They have to make decisions about who they want to work with, whether the channel's, big enough to risk the payment to the content creator, whether the channel's big enough for them to be willing to pay for that kind of exposure to their product or not. I don't have any hard feelings, but the point I'm making is I have to think about me and my time, and I'm worth it, and you're worth it. So whether or not you're a content creator, there are parallel examples, in your daily life for you to think about. And so I'll just talk to content creators for a second, but if you're not a content creator, think about how this applies to your day-to-day scenarios. When you first start a channel and you're small, you can feel really excited that brands are reaching out to you for partnerships or to give you product or whatever. And you can feel like, yes, of course, I absolutely want to do XYZ. I'm so happy that you even noticed I exist, right? And in the process of doing that, you compromise something if there's a big if the terms of the agreement do not benefit you and the brand. It has to benefit you both alike. And that's just like the reality, right? Same thing in real life. If you're thinking about taking a job, for example, accepting a position, that position has to be good for you. The salary has to work out for you, first and foremost, I would think. Or the conditions and the benefits of the job have to be good enough if the salary isn't. I like them to be aligned. Like, I want to get paid well for my time, right? And I want to enjoy the work that I'm doing. I want to enjoy the people I'm working with. I want to enjoy the working conditions. But you get the idea. It's the same thing in relationships, your friendships, your family ships, your acquaintanceships. You should be getting something out of it as well. It should benefit you in the same ways or more than it benefits those that you are interacting and working with. Don't short yourself as a content creator because you're excited that a brand reached out to you, because you want to be able to say, they noticed me. Who cares? There will be other brands. Trust me when I say brands will start to reach out to you. I probably at this point between the two channels get at least, I don't know, half a dozen to a dozen emails a day, sometimes more, of various brands wanting to partner in one way or another. I mean, y'all, everything from like, we have lawn tools that we want you to show your audience, to very relevant products that are in the beauty and fragrance, and personal care space and all of that, bras even. I was excited that Comfili reached out, but I had to take a beat rather, as the expression goes, to go, is this good for me? Mind you, I never had to show my bra. I could have done exactly what I just showed you, just kind of show you the strap and hold one up or whatever. The point is, I had to make a decision about whether I felt valued in the partnership and respected. And if the deal was that they were going to send me 3 bras, I don't know, at $35 each, that's $105 worth of product that I would have been dedicating a certain amount of my video to. Did I feel comfortable with that? Was it worth it? And the answer was no. I mean, I bought 4 or 5 bras myself. I bought them myself with my own money. I didn't need the collaboration to be able to show the product. So that is where the Comfili thing stands. And I would love to hear your thoughts. Let me know if you feel the same way about your time and your energy. If you are a content creator, I especially want to hear your thoughts, and whether you have found yourself facing similar questions where you're like, I don't know if this is really for me or benefits the brand more. Because you have to make these kinds of decisions, This is a Huda liner, Huda Beauty, very Vanta extreme black eyeliner, and it's just like a no fail. I love the Victoria Beckham liners too, but this one, when I just want, it's called Creamy Coal. When I just want a straight black line, it does the job. I'm curious to know like how you feel about these things, especially if you're a content creator. Have you had to face some of these questions? If you're not a content creator and you faced similar situations in your real life where you have to draw the line somewhere and make a decision about, is your time being valued or you being respected as a human? Let us know down below. These are important things for us to share with each other, especially as ladies and my male viewers. You've probably gone through similar situations as well. Of course you have. Like, it's just a human thing, right? That people are sometimes not valuing us and trying to not give us our right due, not pay us appropriately, not give us the right compensation or whatever. And again, this is not against a brand. I don't think they did anything wrong. They have their sort of metrics that they use to determine who they want to pay or not. I get it. That's cool. That's their business, right? But it's also my business to say that doesn't work for me. I hope that makes sense. This is the Huda Beauty, no, excuse me, lies, Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Wiz in soft brown. I finally went through my Benefit pencil and got to open a new brow pencil. So then in much more frivolous news, y'all, I started to see hints that a trailer for Stranger Things season 5 is about to drop to signal that they're ready for the new season to start soon. I couldn't be more freaking thrilled. And I understand that From, my favorite zombie show, From, is in the process of wrapping up filming for its final season and probably going to go into editing soon to be able to release in time for a 2026 release. Woo! So excited for both of those shows to come back on. We also discovered that there's a new season of Naked and Afraid, and we've been watching that along with Crazy 90 Day Fiancé. Oh my gosh, 90 Day Fiancé. Have you been keeping up with that? This season, or this latest season, there is a throuple. I'm sorry, if you happen to be in a throuple or approve of polyamorous relationships, great, fine, whatever. I don't. I think it's the wildest thing. I cannot imagine sharing my partner with anyone. I can't imagine any of it. Any parts of it make me just like go hell to the no. So on the show, there is a throuple where a man and a woman, who, by the way, have children, decide that they want to engage in a 3-person relationship with this woman who happens to be a dancer in Tijuana, Mexico. Lord have mercy. And it's the part of the show that's the most uncomfortable for me to watch, just because it's so, in my mind, such a ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous arrangement that I know will never work. I mean, y'all, human psychology does not allow these kinds of things to work in the long run, because inevitably there's going to be jealousy, there's going to be boundary issues. How the hell are you going to explain this to your children? I mean, there's so many questions about when and how, and if ever, more than 2 people in a relationship can work. I can't deal with it personally. I can't even deal with thinking about it. And my husband and I just cringe imagining that anybody else would be with us for any reason, in any way other than coming to our house for a dinner and then getting the hell out as a friend. I mean, we just can't imagine like being romantically involved, the 2 of us with a 3rd person. So inevitably, this couple does end up having problems as they become a throuple with the 3rd person. Because what? Exactly what I said. There's jealousy issues, boundary issues. 2 are over there getting intimate while the 3rd didn't know that they were intimate. Oh, and how come no one told me or invited me, and what's okay and what's not okay? And I'm like, see, I'm yelling at the screen like, I could have told you this was going to happen. You know, are you watching? I'd love to hear your thoughts on that particular situation for 90 Day Fiancé. The other show that we've gotten into that I think you all would love, I think my audience would love this show. It is called Castle Impossible. Anyone watching Castle Impossible? It's this really adorable couple. Gosh, I forget their names. Daphne, and I forget the guy's name. Daphne's grandfather had owned a chateau outside of Paris. A real true chateau that looks like a little castle, but it's a chateau. It's not quite a castle, right? And it's on this huge property with a lot of land. This is the Kosas Air Brow in the color chocolate, and I love this stuff. It puts like little fibers into your eyebrows and gives it more color than I normally have. But Castle Impossible. There are other houses on the property. But the whole premise of the show is them renovating this chateau that has gone into disrepair. It has a moat around it, like a water moat. There are weddings that happen there on the first floor. And slowly but surely, in every episode, they're renovating a different room in the chateau or in another building called the Hunter's Lodge that they choose as their living quarters while they are renovating the chateau. Y'all, it's one of the most beautifully done shows. The final products in each room, like the paint colors they choose, the furniture, the decor, it's so adorable and fascinating. The couple is young, full of energy. The renovations are ridiculously expensive, but just fun to watch them do that. So I would highly advise you to check out that show if you are interested. The last thing that I will moan and groan to y'all about, y'all, one thing I cannot stand is any kind of proselytizing, be that religious form or political form. Like, I mean, even though on this channel, I tell y'all my thoughts on stuff, I mean, y'all come to the channel, I would hope in part to hear my thoughts about stuff, right? So it's welcome. That's the point, that you come and you want to hear my thoughts, which is why you're here. And hopefully you share your thoughts in the comments as well. Like, we can't unfortunately interact with each other, but you get the idea. So I don't like unwanted proselytizing of any kind. And so I got really, really upset. I'm not a person who gets upset often, but when I do get upset, like, I get pissed with people. And the latest is, I live in a neighborhood that is private. You cannot come solicit door to door. It's not allowed. So someone came to our door with political solicitation. And it's a form of proselytizing to me, which is why I use that word. So I happened to be getting ready when this person came to the door. So my husband answered the door. And we figured out later that it had to be a neighbor because you're not allowed to canvass or solicit in this neighborhood. So how did this person get in to the neighborhood to go door to door? We asked the guardhouse and they said, no one came to see you all. So it's somebody from the neighborhood. And she proceeded to engage my husband in what ended up being an argument on our front doorstep about politics and who we were voting for in the gubernatorial election, which is coming up. Y'all, I don't care how you vote. I really honestly don't care. I don't care. I don't want to know. I'm not interested in your politics. I don't share my politics with anyone. I'm just not that person. It's never a good ending. I don't remember where I was. My husband came in, so I was interrupted. By the way, I'll come back to the story about the proselytizing on the porch in just a second. But I learned from Marlena Still's channel, I can see it under my eye. Hold on, this is a little bit problematic. So I got to get used to these. But I have these under lashes on, and it looks like this. The package doesn't come like that. There's a little slot down here for this, but I didn't feel like stuffing it back in there. They are press-on lashes, and they're pre-glued. So you don't have to mess with glue. You just have to stick the little thing on under using, you can use whatever, but using this little device here. I put 3 on. I put the fattest one and the medium one and then the little one across in a row. And they were shockingly easy to put on. Shockingly easy. So these might be the way that I go in the future, or I might lean on these. They're by IDYL. So anyway, back to proselytizing on the porch. It takes a special kind of nerve. This is what I'm getting at. To one, go up to a door where you are not supposed to be soliciting and solicit. And you're there to see me. You don't get me. You get my husband. And you have the nerve to ask my husband how I plan to vote in the next gubernatorial election. And the answer is, however the hell I feel like it. It is my right as an American citizen, as a resident of the state of Virginia, to vote for whatever candidate I please and for whatever reason I please. One thing I don't like, I can see like a shadow from the bottom of this. Maybe I just put it on too close. You're not supposed to put it on close to the waterline. You're supposed to put it on a little bit further out, but I like them. So anyway, here's the long and short of it. My husband and I don't always vote the same. Sometimes I vote in one direction, he votes in the other. Sometimes we vote the same. So the woman tries to goat my husband into an argument about how I'm going to vote. And she has the nerve to ask questions like, oh, is this a house divided? Lady, it's none of your business how we vote. It's our right to vote however we please. And it's your right to get the hell off of my porch before we have a problem, before we have an issue. She proceeds to get my husband a little riled up about things. You know, my husband is very much like alpha male, and he's very, very protective over the family. And if he feels like there's any threat, real or imagined, he goes into like that silverback gorilla mode and becomes very protective. So he's got this woman on his property trying to come at him about political views and how he should feel this way or that way. And by the way, your wife, referring to me, this, that, or the other, lady, I'm going to tell you right now, you're in the wrong place at the wrong time, messing with the wrong people. Not today, not ever are you welcome to stand on my property and tell me what I need to think about anything, to try to convince me what to think about anything, and even worse, try to argue with my husband about how he thinks and how he thinks I should think. It was the wildest thing. When my husband recounted this to me, I was livid. Like, I wanted to go through the neighborhood and find who this woman is and give her a piece of my mind. The nerve, the nerve. You know, it's in this category of live and let live. Let people be who they are. Like, who are you? Who are you to have the audacity to walk on my property, ring my doorbell, and after my husband told you that you are not welcome and your political views are not welcome, you have the balls at that point to continue to want to argue about how he should feel and how I should feel. Imagine arguing with a spouse. You're a stranger, arguing with a spouse about how their spouse should vote or not. And who are you? Excuse me? Y'all, I can't understand people and their audacity sometimes. It is beyond my comprehension why someone would think that it is appropriate to do that, and two, to think that you were going to get anywhere, that you were actually going to change anyone's way of thinking, change how they vote. I'm just beyond. So anyway, I wanted to share that little bit to say how you feel about anything, how you feel about religion, how you feel about politics, how you feel about the weather, whether you think there's global warming or not, whether you think we have a waste problem, whether you think people are too consumeristic or not enough consumerism. It is your right to think and feel however you choose. And it is not anybody else's right to change your mind, which is part of the challenge that I have being on social media, because there's this whole like portion of social media attempting to alter how other people think and feel about things. And the presumption is that their perspective is the only right way to see and think about things. And y'all know how I feel about that. So all of that to say, lessons for today: gratitude, gratefulness for wonderful mentors and people who help shape me, for the moments in life like graduation, and humor. Thank you, Maya Rudolph, for your rendition of the National Anthem in joke form, and Fergie for trying to be serious. Thank you to myself for being mature and wise enough to walk away from opportunities that actually are not opportunities and don't serve me. Thank you to those of you and myself who realize that your time is worth it and that compensation for your time is not a four-letter word. You deserve it. You deserve it. Whether it's on social media or in your real life, you deserve proper compensation for your time, your energy, your reputation, your likeness, all of that. And the last thing I will leave you with is you are entitled to feel however you want about anything based on your life experience. And there is no one that is entitled to come to your doorstep through your social media, through a phone call, a letter, a tap on the shoulder in public, that has the right to tell you what to think or how to feel about anything. And that is all. I'm gonna step off my little soapbox and get out of here. Love y'all. See you in the next video. Bye.